If you are a brand new real estate agent and you just clicked on this video, it's probably because you are already cold calling or looking to learn how to cold call and you have no idea where to start or what to do next when somebody picks up the phone. Or maybe if you do end up landing an appointment, you have no idea what to actually do at the listing presentation. Trust me, guys, you are not alone. I've been there. A lot of my students have been there as well. But this exact strategy that I'm going to share with you in this video helped me generate over $1 million in gross commission income in my first 3 years as an agent. And today, over 4,000 different realtors in different markets around the country are using the same exact strategy to have success in getting listings from cold calling, even throughout this difficult market. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 3 specific things you guys can do immediately after watching this video to get on track to getting your first listing from cold calling. Number 1, I want to explain to you why, in my opinion, cold calling is the absolute best vehicle to have hyper success with listings in real estate. I'm also going to tackle and show you guys exactly how to overcome the fear of actually getting on the phones consistently. More importantly, I'm going to show you exactly who to call and what to say to get yourself into these conversations. And at the end of the video, as a bonus, if you guys do implement what I'm teaching you, you're going to start generating listing appointments. I'm going to show you the 2 main things that are going to help you actually win the listing. All right, guys, the first thing I want to talk about in this video is the reason why I actually believe that cold calling is the #1 vehicle to become the best possible realtor you can. And just to give you guys honest transparency, on this YouTube channel, I try to give you guys the real raw truth. So if you're super serious, you're an agent and you're watching this video and you're actually serious about leveling up your career, I'm going to give you every piece of information that you need to actually be able to do that. All you need to do is focus and pay attention. People have a very short attention span, and my team constantly tells me, like, you need to make these videos shorter, you need to condense your message, and I actually completely disagree and always do the opposite, because I want to bring you guys every piece of the truth so you can actually succeed for free. So please, if you're watching this video and you're not serious about real estate, just click off the video, because I'm going to go in depth and it might take me a little bit longer than what the recommended length of a video on YouTube is for the algorithm. Okay, number 1, why is cold calling the best vehicle in my opinion? Let's go back to the drawing board really quick. If we remember the original reason why we got into real estate, it was because we wanted something called financial freedom. As I've grown as an agent and now as I'm growing as a coach, I've realized that we want 2 things. We want financial freedom and time freedom. And the #1 skill set that's going to allow us to do that, not just as a realtor, because I preach this over and over again, guys. If you want to be a realtor forever, be a realtor forever. But some people want to use real estate as a stepping stone, as a staircase to a different part of their career, whether it being an investor, a flipper, a coach, a team leader, or a broker. The skill that is going to let you get there faster or maintain your career and grow as a realtor as you go is communication. Your ability to communicate with other humans, not just your clients, but your partners, your colleagues, etc. Your ability to articulate your message and your knowledge is going to separate you from everybody else. So the quickest way to build that communication skill set is to have the difficult conversations up front. I don't know if you guys have ever heard the saying, hard life now, easy life later. Easy life now, hard life forever. A lot of you realtors watching this video want to take the easy route. You want to have leads come to you. You want to get referrals. You want to have people just hit you up on social media. That's great. We all want that, and you could get there. But guess what happens when you go to an open house and somebody walks in? You have to have a conversation. Guess what happens when someone clicks on your viral Instagram video and says, give me some more details about this property? You have to have a conversation at a high level and communicate with this individual. Guess what happens when you knock on somebody's door and they open? Even though you're in person, you have to have a conversation and you have to know how to communicate. In my opinion, and in my very long experience over the last 5 years doing this and training people, cold calling is the quickest way to build that communication skill set. That's #1. It's going to build your communication skill set, because if you call for sale by owners, if you call expireds, these are the most difficult conversations, and you can have many of them every single day, which is going to help you have more calls and progress that skill set faster. But really quickly, let's touch on a couple different perspectives on why I think cold calling is the #1 vehicle to take to get to your goals faster. Cold calling versus door knocking. If you cold call versus door knock, you can #1 specifically pick exactly who you call, meaning not only can you focus on for sale by owners and expireds, which is something you cannot do with door knocking, you can actually pick the most expensive for sale by owners and expireds, the ones that have the most equity and the ones that have been living in their property for the longest. If you wanted to deploy such a specific plan with door knocking, it's actually impossible, because when you door knock, these are your doors that you're knocking. You have to knock one door, and then if you want to be this specific and go to for sale by owners or expires with this specific criteria, you have to get in the car and then drive to the next one and then knock that door, and then you have to get in the car and go knock the other door. And it's going to take you time versus when you're cold calling, you can be on a dialer, you plug in a CSV file, and you just make call, 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 call. That is the main difference that I see from cold calling to door knocking, which is total efficiency. You're going to be extremely efficient, effective, and strategical. Now, don't get me wrong. Is it more effective to have a in-person conversation? If you could door knock for sale by owners and expires and it be efficient, of course it'd be more effective, but that's just not the truth of it, right? Um, that's I think the second biggest reason as to why cold calling, in my opinion, is the most effective way to get to your goals faster. And then number three, I think it's actually the most affordable for sale by owners, which is the best lead source. If you're privileged enough to have them in your market, I think it is the best lead source to start with because you can generate listings and buyers right away. All you need is a cell phone. Maybe I would really recommend a CRM if you can afford it, and Zillow.com. That is it. Okay. I can't stress this enough, guys. I run a seven-figure coaching operation. For those of you guys that don't know me, I try to be the most transparent entrepreneur I can because sure, my thing is to coach real estate agents, but my big overall goal, guys, and something I want to do heavily in the future is just help entrepreneurs understand what it takes to be successful. And if I would have known at an earlier age that it wasn't about watching more YouTube or working harder, waking up earlier, going to sleep later, and listening to all these different mentors, it simply had to do with my ability to communicate and learn how to understand human psychology. I would have gotten to the position I'm in now significantly faster. If it wasn't for cold calling, right? If it wasn't for all the hard conversations that I purposely wanted to have, I wouldn't even be running this business now. So if there's one thing that I want you guys to take away from this video, amongst all the other pieces of advice that I'm going to give you, is prioritize your communication skills. In my opinion, cold calling is the best way to do that. You're going to put yourself in the fire having difficult conversations. Now, the second thing that I want to address in this video is the actual fear of cold calling. I train thousands of agents around the country, guys. I have hundreds of people in my inner circle, and although I give out, in my opinion, the best information, a lot of people that I train are still scared to cold call. So I'm going to give you guys 3 tips that can actually help you overcome the fear of cold calling. Tip number 1, guys, a lot of people are scared to cold call because we're scared of rejection. And it's true, getting rejected by a stranger or somebody that we know is not a pleasant experience. And the reason why we're scared to get rejected is because we necessarily don't know what to say when an objection comes up. Maybe some of you guys are good at actually getting inside of the phone call, but when an objection comes up, you have no idea what to say, meaning it's going to be an awkward interaction on the phone. You're going to hang up, they're going to hang up, and it's going to make you feel bad and less likely to go to the next phone call. The easiest way to overcome this, in my opinion, is to learn real world conversation frameworks, which is what I teach, versus relying on scripts. There's 3 components, guys, that I always talk about when it comes to cold calling. Component number 1 is the words that you're choosing to say, which is what a script can kind of tell you what to do. It can kind of tell you what words to say. A script doesn't teach you how to say those words, which is extremely important when you're communicating with somebody that doesn't necessarily want to talk to you. And the third part is when to position those words specifically. A script will tell you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, et cetera, et cetera. But when you learn a real world conversation framework, it helps you understand those 3 things, right? So I think a big reason why some of you guys are scared to cold call is because you don't have a conversation framework that can adapt to every single unique prospect and conversation. And I think that if you guys want that, number 1, you can click in the link below and go inside of my free school community and get not only my scripts, but actual extended training videos where I break this down. Probably some of them are on YouTube as well. So you can actually understand what a conversation framework is. I feel like if you guys knew more of what to say in different scenarios, you'd actually be a bit more eager to get on the phone. It'd be exciting to get on the phone, okay? That's part number 1. I think a lot of you guys are following scripts and you don't have conversation frameworks. That could also have to do with you not putting in enough real reps in the real world and just role playing too much. But that leads me to my second topic, which is actually role playing, which is important. You have to role play, but I think who you role play with is even more important. And I'm going to say something that I probably shouldn't say. The truth of the matter is, a lot of you guys have big goals. You guys want to make 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 or more as a real estate agent, but your actions don't line up with these goals. And the reason why I say I shouldn't say this is because some of you guys might take it the wrong way and think that I'm trying to pitch you my program, when all reality, I've always said that the right people are always going to end up inside of my platform, and I still wholeheartedly believe that. But I'm going to tell you guys the truth. I signed up for YouTube to tell you guys the truth, and the truth is that if you guys continue to role play with your colleagues in your office, or newer agents in some free groups, and you guys are not being specific with who you role play with, you're just learning from somebody that's trying to learn as well and probably doesn't have the results you want. So my advice to you is there's two options. Number one, a little bit more difficult. You can find a group of agents in your market that are actually succeeding to the level that you want to succeed and role play with them. That way you can actually learn from people that are making it work. Or number two is that you join a platform. Doesn't have to be mine. There's a few different people out there that do something similar to what I do, and they do it at a very high level. But if you guys have these big goals, you cannot be practicing with people that are at your same level. You have to be practicing with people that are above your level. And those people probably at one point also had the fear of cold calling, but now they don't, because they know what to say, so they can teach you how to say it faster, and you can get to their level faster. I think that's number two. You guys are just role playing with the wrong people, and you think that practice is just going to get you further. But I want you guys to imagine the people that are role playing with. Okay, I'm going to break this down, right? So the people that are role playing with agents that are doing transactions with the lead sources you want to target, they're running miles in the outdoors. They're actually covering ground. They're running miles, right? They're on the pavement, they're making progress, and they're gaining ground. You're role playing with new agents that are trying to figure it out just like you are, consuming the free information that I'm providing for on YouTube, but you're not getting the feedback from the experts, and you're inside of the gym running on a treadmill and you're not gaining ground. That's what you are doing right now, and that could lead to you being scared of cold calling because you're role playing, but when you get on a real call, it sounds completely different, and then you have no idea what to say or what to do. That's number two. Number three, a tip that I can give you guys to get over the fear of cold calling that really, really helped me is this. And again, some of you guys watching this, like, you might like my energy, might like some of my reels, but then I'll say something that pisses you off. And I want you to know that my intention isn't to piss you off. My intention is to really, really help you. And I'm going to tell you the truth. The truth is that we are salespeople. As real estate agents, we are salespeople. We are in this business to help people and persuade them to make decisions that are going to put them in better situations. And some of you guys don't identify as salespeople. And you guys are afraid to have conversations with strangers. You guys are afraid to tackle the phones, right? And I understand that. But you signed up for this career in this industry because you thought that you had potential, and you very much do. So the reframe that I'm going to encourage you guys to use right now is a fear reframe. What do I mean by that? Right now, you guys might be scared to cold call. You guys might be scared to get told no. You guys might be scared to get rejection. What if every time that fear came about, you guys reframed it into the fear of, for example, let's say you have a really big goal to retire your parents, or you have a really big goal to take your kids to a certain vacation or a certain private school, and you really want that to happen. When you get scared to get on the phone or make the next call, you need to trick your brain and start thinking about how scary it is going to be to not live out that moment for you and your family. Whatever your goal might be, what I'm trying to say is you need to convince your brain that it is scarier to not live up to the potential you very much know you have, and pretend like you're not going to get to experience those moments. And immediately the fear of that becomes greater than the fear of cold calling. And if you're watching this video and you're trying to figure out how to get over that fear, that cold calling is that activity that is going to get you the results that you want, that can help you provide those dreams. So I need you guys to consciously be able to do that. But again, it's really sad. We're all so distracted all the time. If you guys really implemented just those three things, you'd get over the fear of cold calling. Well, I've at least helped you guys try to identify that cold calling is the best vehicle to get to your goals quicker, faster as an agent. And we've given you some tips on how to actually get over and remove the fear of cold calling. Now I want to quickly break down who to actually call strategically and how to enter those conversations. The number one tip I have for you guys, and I haven't been using the iPad as much as I want, and I'm not going to use it. I'm going to just try to give you guys the best visuals I can so you guys can pay attention to me. If you want to become really, really good at something, having 4 different things that you're trying to focus on is probably not the way to do that. What I mean by that is before you start prospecting, you should pick one pillar of prospecting and start with that. Let's say you pick cold calling. I think a lot of people give the advice of cold calling for sale by owners, expired, circle prospects, for rent by owners, having all these different pillars. But the truth is that all these different pillars have different processes when it comes to actually putting the leads together. Making the phone calls are completely different. The presentations at the listing appointment are completely different. So the truth is you need to find one lead source, and the best lead source that I think exists is for sale by owners followed by expireds. If you're in a market where you have access to any of these, I would recommend you focus on one. Like, I'm telling you this as an entrepreneur that has made multiple 7 figures over the last 4 years. Simplicity scales, complexity fails. You will earn and close more business if you become the best at one activity. Okay, so let's assume that you pick for sale by owner. If you pick for sale by owner as your prospecting mechanism, I need you to understand that there is, let's say there's 300 for sale by owners in your market. That might be a little bit much, but let's say there's 100. Out of those 100 for sale by owners, there's going to be a group of for sale by owners that are likely to involve themselves in a transaction with you more than others. You need to figure out, based on the condition of the home, the location of the property, the price point, right? The higher the price point, the better, and the percentage of equity that that person has in their property, they are more likely to be able to actually sell that home. So those are the people that you should be prospecting first. So to summarize this, guys, because I think I've gone in depth on this in another video, I need you guys to understand that you need to have a specific way to lead generate. I would recommend one before you get to 100,000. Once you get to 100,000 in commissions, you can maybe add a second, and then as you grow and grow and grow, you can add third, fourth, and fifth, and you're building a team, etc. Pick one way to generate leads. Within that one way to generate leads, pick one specific lead source and sales process to target, and be very specific with who you call within that lead source. Now, if you do this, we're actually being strategic. It's becoming more of a mathematical equation and not just a guessing game, which is what most of you guys are playing. You guys are playing a guessing game. Now you're focusing all of your time and energy throughout the day on this one freaking thing. And Hermosi says this, and I need to quote him because it's amazing what he said. I don't know exactly how it goes, but I know he said something along the lines of this. You need to, first of all, pick your goal, right? Let's say your goal is to become a top producing realtor, uh, cold calling for sale by owners in your market. Pick your goal and do an unreasonable amount of work on that goal for an extended period of time without expecting a result, where it almost becomes extremely unreasonable for you not to hit it. Number one, a lot of you guys don't have strategy. A lot of you guys don't have technique. Like I said, you guys are playing a guessing game. And number two, you guys aren't willing to wait long enough or work hard enough. And that's just the truth of the matter. So I think he summarizes it great. If you guys get strategic, you set a goal and you pick one way to generate leads, you pick one lead source within that way of generating leads, and then you strategically target those leads, you guys are going to have a very dialed in process. Okay. So far, we've talked about why cold calling is the best vehicle, how to get over the fear, how to strategically actually pick your path. And now I'm going to give you guys a couple quick tips. I have some other videos that go much more in depth on this, but I'm going to give you guys a couple quick tips on how to start the conversations. Let's say you're going to call for sale by owners and you want to have a high success rate on the phone and just having conversations. You need to sound different than everybody else calling. A lot of the people are using the same scripts. They're role playing with new agents. Their brokers and their team leaders have no idea what the heck they're teaching them, and they sound robotic and almost AI on these phone calls. They'll say something like this to for sale by owner. They'll say, "Hey John, this is Alexis with ABC Realty. I just clicked on the property over on 12356 Main Street. Is that property for sale?" And then they'll say, "Yeah, are you a realtor?" Yeah, I am a realtor, and I was wondering if I brought you a buyer, are you willing to pay my commission? And they'll go down that path with the wrong words, the wrong language. They have no frames. There's no tonality, and they're going to get what's called sales resistance, and the person's going to hang up. So the biggest tip I have for you guys in starting these conversations is using a pattern interrupt. A pattern interrupt is a different choice of words said in a different way than everybody else that's calling. That way, the sales resistance, which is a trigger in the prospect's mind, does not go off. And although you're probably still going to get objections, you have a better likelihood of engaging into that conversation. Here's what a pattern interrupt might sound like with a for sale by owner. You'll say, first of all, you call them by their first name. You'll say, "Hey, John. John, I actually just clicked on the home here on Fifth on Main Street. Is that property still available, or did you already happen to put a contract on it?" What I'm doing there, I don't know if you guys are noticing, I'm using a different tone. I'm using purposeful stutters, and my verbal pacing is different. It's spread out. Instead of saying, "Hey, John, I'm looking at the property here on Fifth, and I'm calling about it because I'm a realtor, and I wanted to know if that's still available." A lot of agents use a very straight line tone where there's no pausing and there's no pacing. Okay. What I did was I said, "John, I just clicked on the home here on Fifth. I'm trying to see if that property is still available or if you guys already happen to put a contract on it." That is the opening line, by the way. It is an either or question. It will get you in the conversation. And if you don't believe me, try this. It'll get you into the conversation 100% of the time if you just ask an either or question and you switch your tone. Most agents have this up pitch, what I like to call it. They have an up pitch. They'll start with the conversation like, I don't even know how to do it, to be honest, because I've just trained so much. They'll say, "Hey, John, yeah, John, I just clicked on a property here on Fifth. I'm wondering if that property, if you guys are open to compensating realtors." That up pitch, if you guys cold call, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You want to have a calm, relaxed tone. Depending on the prospect, you might have to go into a more aggressive tone or a even softer tone. But we'll talk about that in another video. But in this video, I want you guys to understand that all you need is one good line to get into the conversation. And then as you start building out your real world conversation framework, you're going to start managing objections and using negative frames and leaning in, leaning out, giving the illusion of control and all these different things that we teach about. But for right now, I need you guys to understand that in order to get into conversations, you need to sound different and you need to sound like a human. We'll do it one more time. "Hey, John." Yeah, John, it's actually Alexis. I just clicked on the home here on Fifth. I do see it is for sale by owner, and I'm sure you're getting a ton of calls, so I'll be brief. I wanted to ask one question. Is that property still available, or did you guys already happen to put a contract on it? That is a line that I use for every single for sale by owner call. If you wanted to do something for expireds, for example, you could say something like, "Hey, John, yeah, John, listen, I'll be brief, man. I know you're probably familiar that your property already came off the market. Just wanted to ask you if that home is already under contract or if you guys just changed the plans temporarily." Either or question. Is that home already under contract or did you change the plans temporarily? Notice how I also kind of prevented their objections. I said, "Look, man, I know you probably got a ton of calls. You probably realize the property came off the market. I have one question." Right, I'm obviously talking a lot faster than I would, but you get the point. You prevent the objections in the beginning. So once you guys create a plan to actually prospect a certain lead source and you strategically know exactly who to call, which I'll probably just make separate videos going extremely in depth on one topic. I wanted to give you guys, like, if you're a brand new agent or an agent that has no idea where to go, I wanted this video to serve as like the benchmark to like get an idea and an understanding of what path to get on. And then I'm going to make more videos going extremely more in depth. So we've talked about cold calling being the best vehicle. We've talked about the fear, getting over the fear, right? We talked about how to actually structure and put together a business plan and how to go after these leads strategically. And I just showed you guys a little bit of how to actually get into the conversation. And I'm going to wrap up the video with this. Once you get an appointment, you don't need a fancy listing presentation. You don't need to be with Douglas Elliman or Compass or have all these transactions under your belt. There's two things that you need to do at a higher level than everybody else. And the first one is completely controllable. The second one is something you have to train. The first one is your preparation, the information that you actually go out there and get for the seller relevant to their property. I'll tell you guys this, the number one thing that determines whether or not you're going to sell a property for more money than that person, the owner themselves, or another realtor, is the marketing strategy that you use, aka where and how you decide to price the property. There's not really, guys, there's not too much fancy stuff that goes into marketing a home. Of course, there's things that we do. We do a set of things to market a property, but the number one thing that we have to focus on is being able to position the price in comparison to active under contract and closed homes in the best way possible to try to bring in as many inquiries as possible. Okay, so I need you guys to understand that doing 1 hour of research and just putting together the closed sales is not nearly going to be enough. You guys need to not only understand active properties, under contract homes, closed homes, and you need to understand the expired market in your specific subdivision that you're going to list that potential property at. And not only just have the printouts, but you need to have the information behind it, which means you need to call the agents that have active listings, under contract listings, closed listings, and expired listings. And yes, this takes time, but if you really want to get a listing and make 15, 20, 30, 40 grand, this is what you have to do until you can delegate it. I'm going to make a separate video. I'm getting so many ideas now, and I love this because there's so much to talk about that nobody talks about that I want to talk about, right? So active, under contract, closed, and expired. You need to call these agents and get information like how many showings are they having? Do they have any offers? Has the property appraised? What did it appraise for? All these different details, which you're probably wondering, they're not going to tell me that. I'll make a video showing you exactly how to ask them that so you can get that information. Once you gather all this information, you're going to find out specific details about the subdivision, the schools in the area, the restaurants in the areas, and anything that can influence that property selling. And already at that point, you're going to separate yourself in comparison to 99% of realtors that are just lazy or don't even know where to look. And the second thing that's going to separate you at a listing presentation is your communication. But I'm going to give you one specific tip that's going to help you understand what I'm trying to say is asking questions, not making statements. Most agents go in there and give a pitch and they make a bunch of statements about what their company does and why they think the property should be listed at a certain price point. And they make statements, make statements, make statements. The way that people make decisions is as follows. People listen to themselves first, they listen to others second, and they'll listen to you, the person presenting, last. So do you think you're going to have a better chance of converting a person at a listing presentation by saying, hey, John, so the reason why you should list at 550 is because this home sold here for 540, 530, and 520? That's telling them. Or do you think you're going to have a higher likelihood of persuading that person to understand your point of view if you say, John, you obviously, you guys want to make the most amount of money when you sell this home, right? Yeah. So would you agree that positioning this property at a price point where we can bring in as many buyers as possible will help us do that? Yeah. So if you were a buyer, right, and you had these three homes to pick from, depending on, and we'll walk them through the condition, location, beds, baths, square footages, so they can understand. If you were a buyer looking at all three of these homes, and you put your property at 600, which is what you want to list it at, and these other homes were at 540 and 530, which home would you buy as a buyer? Oh, I'd buy the 530 one. Oh, why? Okay, great. So what do you think we should list your property at in order for it to be the number one option on the market? That way we can get the most amount of buyers. Oh, we should list it at 540. That, and I'll make a separate video on that as well. That is what I mean by asking questions, not making statements. Guys, this video was a bit all over the place. I tried to give you a baseline understanding of all these different topics. I'm definitely going to go more vertical in other videos. If you guys enjoyed this, like it, comment, let me know your thoughts. Subscribe to my channel. I'm coming out with videos every single week. If you guys want all of my free trainings and scripts on a school community, click the link below. And if you're someone that wants to work more directly with me and you want to learn what that looks like, click the link below, book a call on my team's calendar, and we'll give you more information. If you guys have any feedback at all, please let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys soon.